Jimmy.
Now what's worth doing is worth doing for money.
Straight from y'all street to Wall Street.
Anybody tells you money's the root of all evil, doesn't make up half.
Dudes wake up, hope their girl turned on so they can get a little bit. Only woman in the morning, I wanna turn on this. Becky quick. While the average man looking at this, it's sad like she fine as yeah. I'm over here looking at tails and whips like 5'6". I left the mayhem for the market. Now I don't want a dope spot, I want a stock pick. I know that booty got dry, triggered my stop losses, but I ain't got time for your wop. My V-wops crossing. Rich with hot V's and pushing hot keys. Strategy and plans to make grand. Still in my wife beater, Batman pajamas, house slides, and about 5 hot picks for the day. Cause I like the way the Dow bounce. 4 hot dips on call, so I got options. 2 with a lot of volume, 1 with a double bottom. Now I know dumb money don't understand. Am I talking about my trade or just thinking with my MACD? You see, we different in the way we move. You move with kittens and your dog, I move with bears and bulls. I got a green thought, grow with the marijuana. Waking up with the fun, open up some commas. Jump out of bed, big profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, big profits. Light up, watching them candles, profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. They used to watch me move them packs and stop. Now I watch moves in the NASDAQ. Profits. Used to run from the ATF and them cops. Now I run down ETL, making profits. I jump out of bed, make profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, make profits. Light up, watching them candles, profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. Yeah. See, me and Jim Cramer been talking mad money. Said today I'm taking a risk. They got the feds coming, but I got support here with me. I call a short squeeze. You get the drop, she pull the trigger and abort these. If she stay on my watch list, I might have to wife her. But I know better. I'm a true trading group lifer. Call up the Wolf of Weed Street. It's time to flip some profits. Go ahead, be hawking. Get your spot here. I'll double top that in the head and shoulders. Hit him up with this resistance. Watch him roll over. Cause I see John Wicks in contract. If I say I make $1 million a day, well, that's a large cap. You moving average, that's why you get crossed. Get split, get delisted, and knocked off. And I'm setting the whole block off. I'm buying GameStop and selling them roadblocks off. Jump out of bed, make profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, make profits. Light up, watching them candles, profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. They used to watch me move them packs and stop. Now I watch moves in the NASDAQ. Profits. Used to run from the ATF and them cops. Now I run down ETL. Hey, my family. Hey, go, what we doing, my man? Hey, make profits. Hey, Suge, Mike, what we doing, dog? Hey, make profits. Yo, Wolf, Professor, what we doing? Hey, make profits.
That TTG money gang,
making profits.
We some snipers.
Hey yo, what's up everybody? What's going on, folks? Welcome to the True Trader Group live stream. My name is Michael Edward Paranadi. I go by Michael Edward, and I'm the co-founder and head trader at True Trading Group. In case you guys didn't know, we were Benzinga FinTech Awards finalists last year, and we're currently the fastest growing and highest rated premium online educational platform that combines university level trading and investing courses with premium stock market tools, live workshops, and individual mentorship and coaching for stocks, options, crypto, and futures. We day trade, we swing trade. We also cover long-term investing. There's literally something for everybody here at TTG. When you guys join the TTG community, you get access to all of our courses and tools. It's an all-inclusive membership. You're going to get access to the same level of training and education that I received working at a fund in New York, and also access some of the top trading tools available like Benzinga Pro, TradingView's premium charting software, the Trade Ideas Scanner, unusual options activity, options flow, dark pool data, short data, analyst ratings, congressional trading data, our AI trading assistant. The list goes on and on. That's why we were Benzinga FinTech Awards finalists for Best Data Analysis Tool, because when you join our platform, you get access to all of those things included in your membership. You don't have to pay extra for them. It saves you around $5,000 or $6,000 a year if you were to go and pay for those things on your own. Now, why should you listen to anything it is that we discuss on this channel? It's not because I think I'm the world's greatest trader. It's because I didn't figure this stuff out on my own. I began my trading career working at T3 Alpha Fund in New York City, my first job out of college. While there, they had me go through a training program before they let me touch $1 of the fund's money. Then 2008 happened, and that was the Great Recession, the big stock market crash, but also the same year that I received one of the firm's Trader of the Year awards. You fast forward now, and I'm the co-founder and head trader at TTG. And along with my team of 8 other professional full-time trading mods that are with you each and every single day, calling out trades, answering questions, providing market commentary, and sharing their screens, we have helped thousands of members from all over the world to reach their goals. The moderators and I collectively as a group have been able to maintain a cumulative win rate on all of our executions of just around 80%, now going on roughly the last 5 years. So if you guys are new to the fam, new to the stream, make sure you subscribe, smash that like button and show some love, turn on your notifications. Make sure you guys never miss out on any of these live streams. All right, we go live here 6 days a week, Sunday through Friday, dropping golden nuggets on a regular basis. We are going to be going live Sunday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, where I will share with you my top trade ideas for the week. Big week coming up. You're going to get the Fed meeting, not next week, but you're going to get the Fed meeting coming up here within the next 2 weeks. And it's widely expected there's not going to be a rate cut at the July meeting. And it's fully expected that you're going to get a cut in September. But the question is Jerome Powell really going to signal that that cut is coming in September? I don't think he's going to at the July meeting, but I think he's going to at the Jackson Hole speech. Jackson Hole is a economic forum and conference that's going to be held in August. It is where Jerome Powell will be making a very long, detailed speech, and the whole world pays attention to it. And I think that's the speech where he's going to signal that a cut is coming in September. I don't think he's going to signal the cut's coming at the July meeting, but we'll talk about that as we get closer to the July Fed meeting. We'll talk about that as we get closer to it. Make sure you set your reminders, guys, for Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, because like I said, I'm going to go live right here on this YouTube channel, and I'll give you my top trade ideas for the week. I'm going to talk to you actually today about one of those trade ideas, because I already know what one of them is. And it's in the crypto markets. Bitcoin has been on fire. Okay. Bitcoin has been on fire. And it's been on fire as the probability of a second Trump term increases over the course of the last week. And Trump has positioned himself to be favorable for crypto. And crypto has rocked. Also, JD Vance, his VP selection, is also very pro crypto. So Trump and Vance have positioned themselves very pro crypto, and that is why Bitcoin has really ripped higher over the last week. New highs here today on the week. We broke above 67,000. Just 1 week ago, we were at 57,000. You're talking about a $10,000 move in 1 week in crypto or in Bitcoin. That move in Bitcoin brings into play this resistance level that you have on Bitcoin, and that's your all-time highs up there in the low 70s. I think it's entirely possible that this rally, this recent rally that we have seen, there's also a crypto conference on July 25th that I believe Trump might even be speaking at. I have to check on that. But I think it's entirely possible that you could see crypto or Bitcoin continue that push and go up here and start to knock against these all-time highs. Once you get up to those all-time highs, I think then you can have a little bit of a pullback and you can have a little bit of a consolidation before eventually breaking through it. But on the back of that, I'm focused on Coinbase. Okay. I'm focused here on Coinbase. And very strong day from Coinbase today, up 10%. Engulfed yesterday's entire red day. Yet a big red day yesterday. Coinbase engulfed that entire move. And you have a very clear and obvious resistance level on Coinbase in the low 260s that I want everybody to focus on, because this is going to be this is going to be kind of the whole. This is where the whole trade idea is going to be coming from, right? So it's going to be this resistance level that you guys see here in the low 260s. They can see was resistance back there in April. There's resistance there in June. Now you get this nice, strong engulfing candle here today. If Bitcoin continues to push over the weekend, we're going to need Bitcoin to cooperate in order for this trade to happen. But if Coinbase can take out this level, I think that you are on a one-way ticket to 280, which is your 52-week high from back in March. Now, If Bitcoin gets into the low 70s, I think you'll see Coinbase get up there to 280. So Coinbase long is one of my trade ideas for next week. The trigger for that trade will be Sunday evening. If Bitcoin is moving higher over the weekend, and then going into the week, if Bitcoin is moving higher, we will then look for that trade for a long. If for some reason there's a gap up on Monday on Coinbase, we will then have to look for quick pullbacks to then take that trade long on pullbacks into the high 250s, and then look for the breakout and look for the extension and look for something that looks like this. Okay. And then get up there towards that 280. All right. So I think that we're going to get some type of price action that looks like this on Coinbase. I don't have the open position right now. We're going to be focused on Bitcoin over the weekend. Bitcoin likes to make some crazy moves sometimes over the weekend. So let's just make sure that that bullish undertone and that bullish trend in Bitcoin lately is continuing and is still intact. And if so, I like Coinbase through the low 260s to get up there and knock your head against 280, which is the key resistance. And that's a 52-week high there for Coinbase. Now, if you guys like the more expensive stuff, Coinbase is very volatile, but MicroStrategy is even more volatile. Now, MicroStrategy broke itself above key resistance today around 1750. So here you'll see on MicroStrategy, you'll see there's resistance and there's resistance, right? Well, today you can see we popped our head above that level, and your next resistance mark, MicroStrategy, is your all-time high, which is 2,000. The all-time high in MicroStrategy is exactly $1,999.99. That's your all-time high. If you get a move in Bitcoin back to the 70s, I think you're going to see MicroStrategy get to 2,000, and I think you're going to see Coinbase get to 280. Now, whether or not these stocks are able to break through the 52-week high for Coinbase and the all-time high for MicroStrategy is based on whether or not Bitcoin takes out that all-time high. Okay, I do think in order for new 52-week highs on Coinbase, new all-time high on MicroStrategy, I do think you would need a new all-time high there for Bitcoin. Okay, if you run up here and you reject off of it, I don't think that there's going to be enough juice. Like if you run up, you smash into it, and then Bitcoin falls back into the mid 60s, I don't think there's going to be enough juice and enough momentum on those names to continue higher. But these are going to be some trade ideas we're going to have on the list for next week. These are trades that we may be entering on Monday. But again, we'll talk about this in greater detail on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern live. You guys also, if you want to follow along with us in real time and actually trade with myself and the other moderators, get notified the exact moment that we enter these positions, get notified the exact moment that we take profit and exit these positions. All you have to do is download our mobile app and join our trial. So if you guys want to go ahead and do our trial, you can do so for 7 trading days. There is no, it's not 7 calendar days. It's 7 trading days. So you can join the trial right now. Your first day doesn't start until Monday. You'll have access to the platform starting now, and you can go over stuff over the weekend. There's sample courses. You can familiarize yourself with the platform. But then Monday counts as your first day. You're going to get 7 trading days. So it actually would behoove you to join today for the trial, get access to everything. And then Monday is actually day 1 because your trial will be 7 trading days. Holidays and weekends do not count against your 7 days. Go to ttgtrial.com. Again, that is ttgtrial.com. Again, that is ttgtrial.com. If you guys want to join our trial, I invite you guys to be in chat with us next week and capitalize on some of these moves. Execute on some of these trades. Don't just listen to me talk about the trades that I'm going to make. Don't listen to me talk about trades that we did make. Be there the moment that we actually enter the position. Even if you're not in front of your computer, don't worry about it. 82% of our members have full-time jobs. So if they can do this, so can you. Just download the mobile app and you get real-time push notifications when our mods enter and exit their trades. So even if you're not in front of your computer, you can follow along with what we're doing during the day. All right. All right, folks. Let's talk about the overall markets here now. Well, we also kind of getting underway. Now, if you've been following the YouTube channel for the last, week or so, I've been telling you guys that I was expecting a pullback in the markets, into August and September. I didn't foresee all the negative comments in the semiconductor space from the Biden administration and from Trump. You actually had the gap down that you had here this week. This big gap down was actually triggered by Taiwan comments from Trump and chip restrictions to China from the Biden administration. So kind of a 1-2 punch from both angles. Some geopolitical concerns about the semiconductor space. And that's why semiconductors really got hit this week, right? You can see what happened here to NVIDIA. You can see what happened here to AMD, brutal, right? You can see what happened here to Broadcom. You can see what happened here to Taiwan Semi. You can see what happened here to Micron. You can see what happened here to Qualcomm. All of these stocks really got hit this week, and it just fueled the rotation that was already underway out of tech and into the Dow. Okay. And even though we had that rotation, that rally earlier in the week, you're now getting some of that rotation coming back out as it's turned into this week started off as a rotation, money out of tech and money into other areas of the market. And then you had the Dow and the Russell move higher while the S&P and the NASDAQ moved lower because of the tech, the NASDAQ and the tech weighting in the S&P. That came undone into the back half of the week. Thursday and Friday turned into just straight sells across the board as all indexes traded lower. You can see sizable pullback there on the Dow. You can see sizable pullback there on IWM, sizable pullback on the S&P, and sizable pullback on the NASDAQ. All right. So I think that we are due for a deeper pullback than this. I do think that this is the start of what turns out to be more of a pullback than what we've been used to. You see, we've only really had one pullback this year. So here's January, right? There's January. I'll draw a vertical line. There's the start of this year. You can see January straight up, February straight up, March straight up. April was the only pullback that we got, where the markets actually went down for a period of about 2 weeks, and we closed out the month of April in the red. April is your only red month of the year. Then we went right back to new highs in May, new highs in June, new highs in July, and then now here is your second real pullback of the year. You can try to say that this was a pullback. We went down for a day, 2 days, right? This really wasn't much of a pullback, okay? But this is now for your third consecutive day in a row, downward price action as people have begun to take profits. And we could not hold this previous double top all-time high today, which was previous resistance here, previous resistance there. That's your double top. You broke that in in early July. We pulled back into it. We tried to hold that level yesterday intraday. We couldn't bounce off of it. We actually traded lower after testing that resistance, which should be now support. We caught a nice little bounce off that level yesterday into the close. And then today there's no follow through on that bounce, which tells you something about this support level and how strong this support level is, or how strong the selling pressure is in this take profit actually is, that we were not able to bounce off this level, not even for a day. So what you have to look for going into next week is the market really in a fragile spot right now, where this will be the first prior high that does not hold on a pullback. So if this level does not hold, and you're like, well, Mike, isn't it already broken? Right now, it certainly does look broken. But if on Monday you came right back with a candle that looks like this, and you get right back above that level on Monday, that level would still be intact. Okay, so you want to make sure that on Monday there's a candle that looks like this, where you trade fully and completely underneath this level. You don't want to see something on Monday where you trade back through and you have price action now in between that zone. That's not what you would want to see to have confirmation of this level completely being broken. Because if you have confirmation of this level completely being broken, what I would actually really love to see is a very quiet Monday and Tuesday where the markets trade in the high 540s Monday and Tuesday, and then roll it over Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then make a move down deeper into some of your deeper support levels. So like on Monday, do this, on Tuesday, do this, very boring days. And then you open it up and then you sell it down. You have that breakout day on Wednesday and you get a little follow through there on Thursday, and you get down to your next support level, which is going to be sitting right around 542.5, which is this support that was here all throughout the month of June and the early start there of July. By that time, this dark blue line you see on my screen, which is the 50-day moving average, will be coming into play, and that could give you a nice little level of support to then try to bounce from there. And that's the area that I believe that this pullback is going to take us. So I don't think this is just like a 2-day thing and then we're gonna bounce it right back and we're gonna take this, we're gonna take things, that's it. And all of a sudden Monday you're gonna get this, and Tuesday you're gonna get this. I don't think that this is the price action that we're going to get next week. I think a lot of people are looking for that because every time you've had any type of a red day in the market this year, it's been bought up, very aggressively and very quickly. And the selling pressure really did not last. I think this time is going to be a little bit different. I think we're going to undergo the second real pullback of the year. Now, does that mean we're not going to have green days mixed in between here? No, of course not. Of course, you're going to have green days mixed in here, and you're going to have bounce back days. But I don't think the markets get back to like 560. So I don't think we get back above 560. Okay. The gap down that you had on Wednesday, I don't think we get back above that. So on bounces back into that area, if we were to bounce back, I don't think you're able to take that level out. I would expect that to be resistance and then look for us to trade back to the downside. Now we'll look for the markets to put in a lower high when you get your first bounce back attempt. And the first bounce back attempt that you do get, that is what I think is really shortable. And I think you can get a little bit of a pullback going into the month of August, possibly into September, as September is historically the weakest month of the entire year, right? If you look back in September, what has happened in the market for the last couple of years in September, I'll show you. I'll show you what's happened in the market the last couple of years. Here's September of last year. Downward action. That's September of 2023. Let's go back to September of 2022. There's September of 22. More downward action. Okay. So let's go back to September of 21. There's September. Wait, no. There's September of 21. Okay. For the last 3 years, I'm sorry. Let's go back to September of 2020. There's September of 2020. For the last 4 years, okay, the last 4 years, you've had a red month of September. There's 2020. There's 2021. There's 2022. And there's 2023. I just think the markets are getting themselves set up right now to continue that type of trend. And I think that the pullback that we've seen the last 3 days is the start of a bigger pullback that can take us down into this region. Okay. So these are some of the things that I'm thinking about. I think your first test or your first stop on this pullback is going to be those low 540s. And then I think you can get a legitimate bounce off the low 540s. All right. So going over the course of the next couple of weeks, I'm looking for, going over the next couple of weeks, I'm looking for short opportunities. We've been predominantly long so far in 2024. Most of our money has been made to the long side. I mean, obviously the market's made a new all-time high, like 38 times this year. I think that there's room here. And I think that the September rate cut could be a sell the news event. I think the September rate cut could be a sell the news event. I think everybody is excited thinking that, as soon as the Fed cuts rates, the market's going to rip. And you got to see what inflation looks like in September, and you got to see what the labor market looks like in September. And if the market feels that the Fed is cutting rates without, inflation. Listen, the inflation report we got this month was very good. If you get more of that over the next 2 months, then that's a very good sign. But if you don't make progress over the next 2 months with inflation and the Fed cuts rates anyway in September, I think I think that first rate cut can become a sell the news event. I don't think it's just going to be that simple where it's like, oh, the Fed cut rates, yay, markets go back to all-time highs. You got to wait and see what the inflation data is, and you got to wait and see what the labor market looks like at that time, not to mention GDP. So we'll see. All right, we'll see. Fed meeting coming up at the end of July. I don't think he's going to signal that September a cut is coming. I think he'll want to keep financial conditions tight. The markets are already pricing in the September cut. I don't think Jerome Powell and the Fed want to give too much of that away and give the markets the green light to price in and have 2 months of easing before they get to the rate cut, or a month and a half of easing before they get to the September meeting, because financial conditions will ease ahead of the anticipated rate cut. So I don't think he's going to forecast it in July, but then at the Jackson Hole meeting, he might begin to forecast it at the Jackson Hole meeting, because what Jerome Powell has done throughout the last several years, which I think he's done a very good job of this, is really tell the market what he's going to do so that the market has time to, price these things in, and the market's never surprised and there's never a shock. The Fed has typically given the market exactly what the market's expected. And that's not because the Fed is purposely doing what the market wants. It's because the market is pricing in what the Fed is telling them they're going to do. The Fed has done a very good job of forecasting out, like, hey, this is what we're going to do, without actually saying it. And it's been easy for the market to begin to price that stuff in. And that's created a very orderly market around Fed meetings and around rate decisions. And that's a credit to Jerome Powell. So you don't get these like shock and awe type of moves where you get these 1,000-point moves in the Dow and everybody just, runs around with their hair on fire. So you've had a pretty orderly market around these Fed meetings. And that's I think a credit to Jerome Powell and the group there on really being very transparent with the market and being able to price that stuff in. Okay. So those are my thoughts, guys. Those are my thoughts with regards to the overall market. It's been a freaking huge week in chat. It really has. It's been a huge week in chat. My trade of the week was JP Morgan long. We were able to catch this move long on JP Morgan. It was on my watch list from Sunday evening. I went over with you guys. One of my top trade ideas for the week was JP Morgan long. This is why you can't miss the Sunday night stream. Again, Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to go live right back here on this channel. Just make sure you turn on your notifications. You don't want to miss it. I'm going to give you guys my whole game plan, where I see opportunity, what stocks I'm focused on with entry prices and exit prices. I'm literally going to lay it out for you how I plan on making money. I did that last Sunday. And last Sunday, JP Morgan was one of the top trade ideas, and we executed it to perfection. And the analysis was solid. And it turned out to be about a 200% gainer for call options for members that took advantage and followed along with that trade. All right. So that was my trade of the week. But we also had some absolute monsters. Okay, we had some absolute monsters. Shy was just absolutely on fire this week. Shorts on Micron, or shorts on Taiwan Semi, shorts on CrowdStrike. I'm sorry, not CrowdStrike, Salesforce. Right? I mean, just a big week. Just a big week. Shorts on Uber. Uber was 100% gain yesterday. So really just has been a really big week. Also, Glenny catching a nice long on Glenny catching a nice long on Krispy Kreme. I mean, there's just been some really great trading opportunities out there and some really great alerts that have been called out inside of chat. And the moderators have really, and Diane had a great week also. Diane, the zero DTE queen, SPY options, Intel options. Diane had a big week this week as well. I mean, it really is the moderators that you're trading. Like, it's not just me. There's 8 other professional traders that are mods that share their screen and call out their trades. And I got to be honest with you guys. I mean, right now, and this has been going on for the last several months. I mean, right now, the moderators are just absolutely on fire. I mean, they're on an absolute tear inside of chat. Now, I know I said to you guys that as a group collectively, we have a cumulative win rate on all of our executions of around 80%. That number is definitely higher this week because there's been some phenomenal trading going on this week. And that results in members making money. And that's what matters. And that's what we're here for. And if you don't believe me, I'll prove it to you. Members, do me a favor. Type the number 1 if you guys are making money and becoming better traders because of TTG. Just go ahead and type the number 1 if you're making money. Glenny also with VIX call options this week, right? You want to talk about sniffing out. You want to talk about sniffing out this pullback, right? VIX call options this week for Glenny, 120% gain on the call options there for Glenny on the VIX. I mean, it's just been a big week. It's been big day trades, swing trades, stocks, options, futures. Doesn't matter what you trade or what your style is. We trade all of it. See, these members are typing number 1. They're making money. They're becoming better traders. If you can do it, if they can do it, so can you. What's the difference between them and you? Nothing. The difference is literally True Trading Group. That's it. They're not smarter than you. They don't have more money or more experience. They're certainly not luckier than you. They just have real education. They're guided by 8 professional full-time traders. They have access to some of the best trading tools this industry has to offer. And they're part of a community of 10,000 members from 115 different countries that genuinely gives a damn about whether or not you succeed or fail. That's it. So you guys can come be part of the community all next week. Join us. You get 7 full trading days. Go to ttgtrial.com. That's ttgtrial.com. Again, that is ttgtrial.com. Andre says it should be illegal how TTG smacks this market and pulls out dollars from this market daily. Miss Tiny Traders no longer red thanks to True Trading Group. Diamond Dog says the TTG education is second to none. My boy Rhino nailed futures all week. Definitely becoming a better trader. A way better trader, somebody says. All right, so you guys look, this is what I'm talking about. Way to go, Andre. Hawaiian Electric, Coins, Snowflake, Tesla, trades made the week. Way to go, Andre. Huge week for Matt. Huge week for Rhino. That's what I'm talking about, guys. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So like I said, if you guys are not members yet, I'm not even going to talk to you about a membership. I'll just tell you to join the trial. Again, go to ttgtrial.com. That's ttgtrial.com. Okay? ttgtrial.com. Join our trial. You get 7 trading days with us, not 7 calendar days. Anybody have any questions for me before we break for the weekend? Hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. I've got some work to do this weekend for my 6-month mentor program. Oof, way to go, Ivan. Ivan made 485% on Microsoft put options. Monster, Ivan. Great job, man. And my lips are dry. I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm dehydrated. What do I think about Starbucks for continuation? So there was some news on Starbucks today. An activist investor taking a stake in Starbucks, which I'm actually very happy with. I think you could see some continuation with Starbucks to take you back to 82. And then I think that the lid is put on the stock at 82. I just love the support level down here in the low 70s. You can see huge support level back there from 2020, huge support level right there from 2022, and then double bottom support here in 2024. Okay, so I mean, this is as obvious of a support level as you can possibly get, right? You can see support here in 2020, support here in 2022, support here in 2024. And then news today, activist investor stock is this nice pop to the upside. I do think that over the course of the next couple of days, you can get maybe a little bit more of a move up into like 82, tap into this resistance from last month, and then also this purple line. That's your 100-day moving average, and then that can come into play, and that can act as resistance as well. And then the stock can pull back and consolidate, from there. So I do think you have a chance of a little bit more follow through to the upside on Starbucks going into next week. I just think that was such a beautiful support level down there in the low 70s. And I think you can easily see some dip buyers step in on the back of the activist investor, try to make some changes operationally and structurally with Starbucks to try to get that company to experience a little bit more earnings growth and get them headed back to, the golden days of 2021. The company, has had a tough time so far in 2024. Their stock's not doing very well. So I do think there's a little bit more upside on that. Way to go, Sean. 400% gain on Coinbase calls, 105% gain on HUT for Susie. Great job. Really great job. You guys are killing it. You guys are absolutely killing it. What do I think about oil prices? Oil took a hit today. That is from Trump's comments yesterday at the Republican National Convention, where he talked about drill, baby, drill. And that means, so one of Trump's big plans to try to bring down prices is to increase domestic production of oil, to bring down energy prices, to bring down other prices. Because if you do bring energy prices have a huge factor in the price of everything. So that's why usually you experience periods of inflation when oil moves higher, and then when oil moves lower, it's usually a disinflationary, thing when oil prices move to the downside. So supply and demand, that's how oil works. If you increase production, you increase supply. Supply then balances out demand, or supply exceeds demand, and then that's how prices come down. So I'm not surprised to see oil trade lower today after those comments last night. I think that makes total sense. I think that oil is in a range. I mean, this is not the price of oil. This is USO. This is just an ETF and a fund that tracks actually oil futures contracts. This is not the price of oil. Just want to make sure you guys know that I just pulled this up just to look at it, because it tracks the futures prices. But I just think that you're in a range. Okay. I just think that you're in a range. And I think that you guys have to remember that we severely depleted our strategic oil reserves to try to help keep oil prices down when inflation and oil prices were spiking. We have to refill that. We really haven't, because oil prices have kind of steadily stayed in the $70, $80 a barrel, which is still pretty high. Once those prices come down, I think into the 60s, you probably see the United States be a pretty big buyer to refill the strategic petroleum reserve. But then you also have, if we go into next year and then there's increased oil production, you can also fill it that way. So I do think that oil prices can move to the downside, but I do not think oil prices are going to go back to where they were, when oil used to trade in like the $40 a barrel. I don't think oil is going to go down that low. I think oil can probably find a home in the 60s, which is still very good for oil companies. And I still own my oil companies. I still own Chevron, Exxon, Occidental Petroleum. I own OKE, One Oak, which is more natural gas, ConocoPhillips. But these stocks all had red days today, right? They all had red days. And now you might have thought to yourself, you're like, well, wait a second. If it was, drill, baby, drill, wouldn't that be good for these oil companies? Well, not necessarily, because the profitability for these companies is directly tied to the price of oil. The more expensive oil is, the more money that they make. These companies will have X cost to get the oil out of the ground, or an X cost to refine the product. And whatever, if they can sell it for Y or Y plus Z as oil prices move higher, then that just means more profit for them, right? There's a reason why, these companies, and they were, some of these companies were vilified when they were reporting record earnings back in 2022. Well, oil was $110, $115 a barrel. And when oil is that high, these companies can make a hell of a lot more money than they were when oil was $45 a barrel. I don't really plan on selling these companies. They've done very well for me. And now I'm just at the point where I'm just collecting dividends. I did take profits on these companies back in 2022 when they ran to some of them new all-time highs or new 52-week highs. But I've been a holder of these positions for the last 2 years, just collecting the dividend. And I just reinvest the dividend and just buy more shares with it. So, but I do think that you can see oil prices come down next year if Trump is reelected, as he increases oil production domestically here in the States. That should bring the price of oil down next year. But also you're going to get like deflationary pressures across the globe as the economy slows, and demand for oil will slow as the economy slows. So I think oil prices would kind of come down anyway, but that could speed it up if production increases, because it just becomes supply and demand. So I think oil prices could move to the downside. All right. Wow. Terry Callahan, 1,130% on SPY put options yesterday. Terry, that is absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane. Congratulations, Terry. There's my boy Jeff, $1,150 profit on a couple of Tesla calls. Way to go, my boy Jeff. And yeah, that he means puts. He just clarified put. I was gonna say no way on calls. Yeah, on puts. He clarified on puts. There it is. Yeah, I saw the comment. I saw it. I saw your comment. He goes, puts today, not calls. But yeah, so there you go. Over $1,000 profit on Tesla puts. Jeff, you've been trading really well, brother. That's Bluegrass Guy in chat. So members are like, that's Bluegrass Guy inside chat. My uncle has a lot of shares of Apple right now. Do you think he should shift some of those shares to another stock ETF? If so, which one? I mean, there's nothing wrong with owning Apple. I mean, Apple is my largest position in my long-term portfolio. But if it's the only position that your uncle has, Nicola, then, diversity is important, is key. And if you're looking for an ETF, I would say maybe the SMH, the semiconductor ETF, but I think you can get a better price in the next few months. I think you can get a better price in the next few months. I mean, you also, if you want to diversify, you can also, I mean, you forget like SPY, QQQ, those are ETFs too. If you're looking for diversity, individual stocks, if your uncle owns Apple, you want to stay in that kind of, I wouldn't say to go into something that's going to be super high risk. I would just stick with the regular, stick with Microsoft, Apple, and Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon. I'm still bullish on those names for the long term. But I certainly would not sell Apple. I think it won't be too long until we see Apple as a $5 trillion company. See, Apple, once Apple starts to benefit from AI, and then once Apple starts to generate revenue from, not starts, they already do. They're already doing billions of dollars from India. But I think India is going to be a massive growth driver for Apple over the next few years. I'm very bullish on India. I own some of these India ETFs in my emerging markets portfolio. I've been talking to members about India for the last few months, and this is INDA. INDA is an ETF that tracks the Indian markets, and you can see new all-time highs there for INDA. And I'm bullish on India as an economy and as a country for the next decade. And I think that India could be for Apple for the next 10 years what China was for Apple for the last 10 years. Growth in China has really slowed down. Their economy has really slowed. Their population growth has slowed, and they've had a tough time coming out of COVID. Their economy is not doing well, nowhere near as well as ours. And that has hurt a lot of companies that have a very big presence in China. Like Tesla stumbled for a while, Apple stumbled for a while. A lot of that to do with weakness in China. But now that Apple is in India and they went from 4 billion to 6 billion to 8 billion in revenue, I only expect that number to continue to climb and continue to rise. So I think that that could be a big growth driver for Apple. And then you factor in the AI component there with Apple. And I still think that as expensive as that company and that stock is, there's like a 3.2 trillion dollar, $3.3 trillion market cap. I still think you got to own it. I still think you've got to own it. Shipping some of his shares into biotech ETFs. Yeah, you can do that. The biotech ETFs will be a little bit more volatile, right? Biotech in general is more volatile. You just have to understand what you're selling and what you're going into, right? You're selling something that's not very volatile, that follows and tracks the index very closely, being the largest market cap and having the greatest weighting and effect on the index. And going into biotech, which is a lot more volatile and a lot lesser known companies, a lot lesser mature companies. So I wouldn't, if you want to just take some profit off on an Apple position because you're up so much and you want to spread that money across elsewhere just to diversify, then I think that's fine. What I would not do, though, if it was me, this is just if it was me and it was my money, I wouldn't be selling like the bulk of my Apple position and trying to put that money to work somewhere else. That's just my personal opinion. You do it, you guys do whatever you want with your own money. I'm just telling you what I would do with mine. All right. Mike, please discuss shorting targets via other vehicles other than options and straight shorts. You mean like the inverse ETFs? Luobo? Something like inverse ETFs. Hey, there's inverse ETFs that you can buy that actually go up as the stocks go down. But you don't want to hold on to these things for the long term. These things will decay themselves to zero. You have to be careful with a lot of these inverse ETFs, and you have to understand what you actually own. There's a reason why the stock, this SQQ chart looks like this, and it's not because the market has just gone up and away. And you can see you had multiple reverse stock splits in here. So see you keep getting these stock splits, 1 for 4, 1 for 4, 1 for 4, 1 for 4, 1 for 5, 1 for 5. It'll always work itself and decay itself towards zero. These are not supposed to be long-term holds. These are supposed to be very short-term trades. Okay. And the reason for that is because these are inverse on a daily basis, especially these leveraged products. You have to be very careful with leveraged products. Yes, contango, exactly. I didn't know if you knew I didn't know if you knew what that word meant. That's why I wasn't using it. So a lot of these products also are leveraged. So if you get like a 3 times bear ETF, the whole objective of that ETF and the managers of the ETF is they'll use derivative products to try to triple the daily movement of that particular security every day. So if the equity is down 1% on the day, that ETF is going to try to be 3 times that to the upside. But it resets every day. So it's not a rolling, it's going to follow this thing inversely directly. It's not a direct inverse correlation because it'll reset each day. It'll try to match it day by day, not running tally, not a rolling tally. Okay, so that creates that discrepancy that a lot of people don't necessarily understand. You can't just buy SQQ and just hold it. Okay, it's meant for very short-term protection. If you think the market's going to go down in the next week, then go ahead and buy SQQ and it'll pop to $10 and then you take your profits and you're done. They're very short-term hedges. Okay. All right, folks. I think that just about does it. All right. I think that just about, hi, Mike, do you think Palantir still looks good for a long? The market pullback with Palantir, not yet. Can you share your opinion why it's not affected by the market pullback? I just think the Palantir is doing a great job. I don't like Palantir as much as for a long now. And the reason for that, Devi, is because it's reached my target. So if you've been following the channel, then Palantir was one of my ideas last week for longs this week, which ended up working out very, very well. It's a good trade for us over the last 2 weeks. But my target was 29.25, and that's from this double top back there in 2021. And you can see we've gotten there. And you've gotten there now 3 times, and you tailed into it and you were unable to close above it. I think it's probably more likely that you get something that looks like this than it is you get a candle that looks like this on Monday. Okay. So you're definitely finding resistance there. And I think you might get a little bit more consolidation there on Palantir. All right. Guys, listen, next week's going to be a big week. It's all about earnings next week. PCE inflation data on Friday, but next week is going to be earnings. You're going to start to get some of your bigger kind of the top end of the S&P 500, some of your bigger companies coming out with earnings next week. We're going to go over the game plan on Sunday evening. So make sure you set your reminders and join me live at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. But get your butt inside of chat with us. Get notified when our mods enter positions. Go to ttgtrial.com. That's ttgtrial.com. Join our trial. It's 7 trading days. There is no automatic upgrade to a full membership if you forget to cancel. It's a free trial membership. It just expires when it's done. There's no credit card information or anything like that needed for you guys for this week. So go to ttgtrial.com and get your butts on over and chat. All right. That's it, folks. Have a wonderful weekend. Come back Sunday night, ready to rock and roll, and I'll see you guys on Monday. All right. I'll see my members on Monday. The rest of you, I'll see you guys Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern right here. Again, ttgtrial.com. Subscribe to this channel, smash that like button, turn on your notifications.